1 hour a day can change your life, ladies and gentlemen. Let me ask you a question that might just change the course of your life. What are you doing with your hour? Not your whole day, not your entire week, just one single hour. Because here's the truth, greatness isn't born in marathons. It's carved out in the quiet, consistent moments the world doesn't see. 1 hour a day, every day, is the difference between existing and evolving, between surviving and soaring. Whether you want to master a skill, build a dream, or change your story, the seed of transformation is time. Small, sacred, and invested daily. And the best part, you already have the hour. Now the question is, will you use it or lose it? Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Give yourself just 1 hour a day to tip the scale. There's a simple law in life that most people don't realize until it's too late. You will either suffer the pain of discipline, or you will suffer the pain of regret. The difference between those two is weight. Discipline weighs ounces, regret tons, and yet every day millions choose the heavy burden of I should have, I could have, and if only. But here's the liberating truth. Just 1 hour a day, committed to the right habit, to your personal growth, to your vision, is enough to tip the scale in your favor for a lifetime. Not 5 hours, not your whole weekend. Just one, and the reason that hour matters so much isn't because of the time itself, but because of what it represents: intention, focus, ownership. You see, success doesn't come from doing everything, it comes from doing something consistently, and 1 hour is the gateway to consistency. Think of your life as a scale. On one side, you have dreams, goals, potential, the things that lift you. On the other side, you have distractions, excuses, comfort zones, the things that weigh you down. Now, you might not control everything in life, but you do control what you do with 60 minutes of your day. That 1 hour can be the difference between a year that repeats itself and a year that redefines you. People think change is this huge, overwhelming event that requires massive effort, but that's a myth. Real change, the kind that lasts, happens in small daily decisions. One book read each month because you gave it an hour a day. One new skill learned, one business started, one body transformed. Not overnight, but through consistent deposits of effort in the bank of discipline. Here's what's beautiful about this idea. Discipline multiplies. The first few days you set aside an hour, it's tough. You fight the resistance. You'll hear the voice saying, it's just an hour, skip it. But if you push past that, if you train your mind to show up, not perfectly, but persistently, discipline becomes your ally, not your enemy. And once it becomes a habit, it no longer feels like a burden. It becomes a rhythm. People wait for motivation, but discipline doesn't wait. Discipline starts without permission, and eventually discipline gives birth to momentum, and momentum does the heavy lifting. Most people are waiting for the right moment, the right plan, the right partner, but they're missing the fact that the right moment is made the moment you decide to give 1 hour of your day to becoming better. Think about where you could be a year from now. If you gave 1 hour a day to learning a language, you could be conversational. 1 hour a day to writing, and you could have a book in your hands. 1 hour to fitness, and you could have a completely different body and energy. 1 hour to planning and execution, and your side hustle could become your full-time income. These aren't fantasies, they are outcomes, and the only difference between those who achieve them and those who only dream is the discipline to act for 1 focused hour each day. People complain that they don't have time, but they're watching 3 hours of TV, scrolling 2 hours on their phones, and sleeping through their life goals. Let me be clear, this isn't about sacrifice for the sake of suffering. This is about exchanging 1 hour of comfort for a future of freedom, 1 hour of effort for years of opportunity. Life will ask for a price either way. Discipline lets you pay up front in small coins. Regret charges interest and takes everything later. Here's something you can't forget. Regret is louder than discipline. When you miss an hour of growth, your mind whispers it's fine. When you miss a month, it starts to wonder, what am I doing? And when you miss a year, it starts screaming, how did I let it slip away? But discipline is quiet, It shows up silently and does its work. It doesn't brag, it builds, and over time it becomes the foundation for a life you don't want to escape from. Now here's the challenge. Tonight, tomorrow, whenever your schedule allows, claim your hour. Don't wait for the perfect time. Choose a purpose for that hour. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's working out. Maybe it's building your business, meditating, learning, planning, creating. It doesn't matter what it is as long as it's yours. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. Tell your family, block your calendar, turn off your phone. Do whatever you must to protect that 1 hour. And then repeat it daily, because if you can win 1 hour, you can win your day. And if you win enough days, you change your life. Don't major in minor things. Use one focused hour to invest in what truly matters. One of the biggest mistakes people make isn't doing the wrong things. It's spending their best energy on things that don't matter. They major in minor things. They polish the edges of a life that's missing the core. They spend their days reacting instead of building, checking boxes instead of chasing dreams, and then they wonder why they feel stuck, uninspired, or burnt out. The truth is, your time is your life, and if you waste your time on things of little value, your life becomes a reflection of that. That's why one focused hour, not just any hour, but a purpose-driven hour, can create a pivot in your path. When you stop majoring in minor things and start investing in what actually moves the needle, you begin to experience a sense of progress, clarity, and purpose that most people never feel. And all it takes is one intentional hour a day. We live in a world addicted to the illusion of productivity. We answer emails, scroll through feeds, clean out folders, tweak settings, reorganize files, feeling like we're getting somewhere when really we're just spinning in place. Busyness is not effectiveness. Activity is not achievement. The question isn't, did I do a lot today? The question is, did I move closer to the life I actually want? That's what your hour should answer. Because when you stop letting the world dictate your agenda and start carving out time for your own priorities, you take back control. You stop living by accident and start living by design. That one focused hour is your reset button. It's where clarity returns and distractions lose their grip. It's where you ask, what do I want? Who do I want to become? And what action today will take me there? Most people never ask those questions because they're too busy replying, reacting, responding. But that's not living, that's surviving. Real life begins when you decide to direct it. So stop treating the urgent as important. The world will always offer you noise. That 1 hour, that's your silence, your space, your strategy. Now, what does it mean to invest in what truly matters? It's different for everyone. But the principle is the same. Focus on the things that bring long-term return, the things that make your life richer, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, physically. Maybe it's building a business. Maybe it's deepening your relationships. Maybe it's learning a skill that changes your career path. Maybe it's finally writing that book, launching that podcast, developing your health, healing your past. Whatever it is, it needs to matter. Because the moment you give an hour to something meaningful, you're telling the world, I am no longer available for mediocrity. And you'd be amazed what you can build with just 1 hour of deep focus. 1 hour where the phone is off, the notifications are silent, and your attention is undivided. Most people haven't had a single hour like that all year. But when you do it, unlocks something. You think clearer. You feel stronger. You realize you're capable of more than just making it through the day. That's the hour where momentum is born. That's where identity shifts from someone who's trying to someone who's doing. And here's a hard truth. If you don't define what matters, someone else will define it for you. You'll spend your days chasing other people's goals, other people's dreams, other people's priorities. That's how people lose themselves. Slowly, one small yes at a time, until they're living a life that doesn't even feel like theirs. But when you claim 1 hour a day to focus on your purpose, your dream, your calling, you begin to take your identity back. And eventually, that 1 hour starts bleeding into the rest of your day. You walk different, you speak different, you live with intention because you've tasted the power of what it means to act on purpose. So how do you know if you're majoring in minor things? Look at your calendar, look at your energy, look at your results. If your days are full but your life feels empty, you're pouring into the wrong cups. If you're exhausted but not fulfilled, you're running on the wrong track. Your one focused hour is not just another thing to do, it's the most important thing to do. It's where alignment begins. It's where you stop drifting and start directing. Let me give you a challenge starting tomorrow. Give yourself 1 hour, no multitasking, no distractions, just 1 hour dedicated to something that feeds your future. Plan it, protect it, and most importantly, be present in it. It could be morning, night, lunch break, commute. It doesn't matter when, it matters what. Don't let that hour get swallowed by the trivial. Don't use it to check your email or catch up on news. Use it to catch up with your vision. Use it to become who you were meant to be, because in the end, it's not about how many hours you worked, how many meetings you attended, or how many errands you ran. It's about whether or not you lived a life that mattered. And that starts with 1 hour each day where you stop majoring in minor things and start building the life you deserve. Success isn't a sprint, it's daily inches. 1 hour a day adds up to a mile each month. We live in a world obsessed with instant results. Quick wins, overnight success stories, but success real, lasting, meaningful success isn't a sprint. It's not a viral moment, a lucky break, or a flash of brilliance. It's a slow, steady climb. It's built in inches, not miles. It's earned in the quiet hours when no one's watching, and that's the beauty of the 1 hour a day philosophy. It trades the fantasy of sudden success for the power of steady progress. It doesn't ask you to overhaul your life overnight. It simply asks you to show up 1 hour a day, do that, and you'll be amazed how far those inches can take you. 1 hour may not seem like much, 60 minutes, just 4% of your day, but in that single hour lies your power. Because when done consistently, that hour doesn't just add up, it compounds. Inch by inch, day by day, you begin to see the shift. What looked impossible from a distance becomes manageable. What once felt overwhelming becomes routine. Because you're no longer trying to leap a mountain, you're just taking the next step, and you take that step every day without fail, while others are waiting for the perfect time to start, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling. You're building. Quietly, steadily, hour by hour. Let's break it down. 1 hour a day is 7 hours a week. That's 30 hours a month, 365 hours a year. That's over 9 full 40-hour work weeks you can dedicate to one goal. Imagine what that could mean. If you spent that hour learning a new language, you'd be fluent in a year. If you wrote for an hour a day, you could finish a full-length novel in 6 months. If you trained your body for just 60 focused minutes daily, your health would transform in ways no crash diet ever could. That's not magic, that's math, and that's momentum. You don't need to overhaul your life to change it. You need to commit to daily inches. The problem is we're conditioned to think big, bold, grand. We set massive goals and expect massive results right away, and when we don't see them, we quit. We call ourselves failures. We say it didn't work. But that's not failure, it's impatience. It's a misunderstanding of how real progress works. You don't plant a seed and dig it up the next morning because it hasn't grown. You water it, you nurture it, and eventually it breaks through the soil. That's how success works. It's invisible before it's unstoppable, and that 1 hour a day is your watering can. You may not see the growth right away, but something is happening below the surface. Every hour builds a root. Every day strengthens your foundation. Here's what separates the successful from the spectators. They fall in love with the process. They learn to value the inch even when the mile feels far away, because they know it's coming. Every hour they put in is a brick in the wall. Every session, every repetition, every draft, every effort, it matters. They don't wait to feel motivated. They don't need applause. They just show up. And over time, they build something the world can't ignore. That's the power of inches. That's the compound interest of discipline. You may not notice it each day, but step back after a few months and you'll be shocked by the distance you've covered. But here's the trap: inconsistency. Skipping just one day turns into skipping 2, then a week, then a month. And suddenly, the inch becomes an excuse instead of a step. That's why the 1 hour habit must be sacred, not optional, not negotiable. It becomes part of who you are, just like brushing your teeth or showing up to work. It's not based on mood, it's based on identity. You do it because you're someone who keeps promises to themselves, someone who honors their future, someone who understands that success isn't a finish line. It's a rhythm, and 1 hour a day keeps that rhythm alive. Let me be clear, there will be days when you don't feel like it, days when the inch feels too small, days when no one is watching and it seems easier to just skip it. But those are the days that build you. Those are the days that define you, because it's easy to move forward when you're inspired. But greatness is built when you move forward anyway. When you choose the inch instead of the excuse, when you remember that small actions lead to big results, if you keep going. So here's the mindset shift. Stop measuring your progress in outcomes. Start measuring it in effort. Did you show up today? Did you give the hour? That's a win. Stack enough of those wins and the mile takes care of itself. Focus on the habit and the results will follow. Success isn't a destination you arrive at. It's the road you walk, one step, 1 inch, 1 hour at a time. So tomorrow, when the world pulls at your attention, when your to-do list screams and your energy dips, remember this: you don't have to do everything. You just have to do something. 1 hour, 1 focus, 1 action. Because while others are sprinting and collapsing, you'll be walking steadily and going further than they ever imagined. Success is built by those who honor the inch, and 1 hour a day is all you need to start your mile. You can't change your destination overnight, but 1 hour daily will change your direction. There's a truth most people run from because it humbles them. You cannot change your destination overnight. You can't wake up tomorrow and have the business of your dreams, the body you've always wanted, or the life you imagined when you were younger. That kind of change doesn't happen with a single burst of energy. But here's what you can do. You can change your direction today, right now, this hour, and that change in direction, if followed daily, consistently, with discipline and purpose, will eventually lead you to the destination that once felt out of reach. 1 hour a day. That's all it takes to stop heading where you're going and start heading toward where you want to go. The problem isn't that people don't have time, energy, or talent. The problem is that too many people are walking at full speed toward the wrong destination. They're moving fast but going nowhere, and if the direction is wrong, speed only gets you lost faster. Changing your life starts with changing your habits, and changing your habits starts with changing your hours. 1 hour, that's the pivot point. That's the moment when you turn the wheel. And if you turn that wheel 1 degree and hold it, over time, you'll end up in a completely different place. But that only works if you turn it daily. 1 moment of inspiration won't save you, but 1 hour of intention, stacked day after day, that changes everything. Because what you do repeatedly shapes who you become. And when you take that 1 hour and aim it toward growth, progress, and purpose, you begin to shift your identity. You're no longer someone who waits. You're someone who acts. You're no longer reacting to life. You're creating it. So many people want to change their lives, but they wait for dramatic, sweeping breakthroughs. They want the lightning bolt, the epiphany, the big break, but change isn't loud. It doesn't knock on your door with fanfare. It shows up in the quiet, in the mundane, in the consistent choice to show up when it's easier to stay still. You don't transform your future in 1 giant leap. You do it in 1 small turn of the compass. 1 choice, 1 hour, 1 act of courage repeated over time. That hour might be spent reading, journaling, learning, creating, exercising, reflecting. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that it moves you forward, and if it does, that hour becomes your turning point. Let me ask you something honest. Where are you heading right now? Not in theory, not in hope, in practice. Because direction is determined by daily behavior, not dreams. You might say you want a better life, but if your days are filled with distraction, doubt, and delay, then your direction is not aligned with your destination. But here's the power of 1 hour. It's the moment you realign. It's the moment you say, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm choosing. It's your hour of clarity, your hour of action, your hour of becoming, and the more you show up for it, the more momentum you build. And momentum, once it starts rolling, is hard to stop. Think about a ship. If it's heading east and wants to go west, it doesn't flip around instantly. It turns slowly, steadily, guided by a small rudder. That rudder might not look powerful, but over time it changes everything. Your 1 hour is that rudder. It may feel small. It may feel insignificant compared to the rest of your chaotic day. But if that hour is aimed with intention, it shifts your course. And with consistency, you'll look up months from now and realize you're in a completely different ocean. That's the power of daily direction, and that's why 1 hour matters so much. What most people don't understand is this: your life changes long before your results show up. The outside transformation comes last, the inside shift. That's where the real work happens, and it begins with one decision: to take control of your time, to honor your hour, and to stop making excuses. There will always be reasons to delay. You'll always be too tired, too busy, too distracted. But that's exactly why the 1 hour works, because it cuts through all of that. It's a line in the sand. It says, no matter what the rest of the day looks like, this hour is mine. This hour is for growth. And once you claim that hour, you take back your power. Let's be clear, you won't always feel like it. There will be days when that hour feels like a burden. There will be no cheering, no instant gratification, no dramatic change. But those days matter more than the ones when you feel inspired. Why? Because that's where character is built. That's where consistency is forged. Anyone can work hard when they feel like it. But true transformation comes from those who work even when they don't. Because direction isn't about emotion, it's about decision, and every hour you invest, even when you're tired, discouraged, or bored, becomes a building block for the life you want. You see, 1 hour a day isn't just about productivity, it's about identity. Every time you show up, you cast a vote for the person you want to be. You build trust with yourself. You stop being the person who breaks promises to your own future. And once you build that trust, your confidence grows. And when confidence grows, actions multiply. And when actions multiply, results become inevitable. Not because you chased them, but because you became the kind of person who attracts them. That's what changing direction really means. It's not just moving your feet, it's reshaping your foundation. People often overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. They think transformation should come fast, and if it doesn't, they quit. But real change sneaks up on you. It arrives after weeks of silence, after months of quiet discipline, and then one day you realize you're no longer the same person. Your habits have shifted. Your mindset is stronger. Your energy is focused, your direction is aligned, and suddenly the destination you thought was so far away, it's within reach, not because of one massive action, but because of one daily hour honored without fail. So if you're feeling lost, stuck, off course, don't panic. You're not broken. You don't need to start over. You just need to turn the wheel, change your direction, and guard your hour. Make it sacred. Make it non-negotiable. Let that hour be your compass, your workshop, your sanctuary, because the world may not notice what you do in that hour, but you will, your future will, and one day you'll look back and realize that hour changed everything. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Invest your hour before the cost is too high. There is a silent war taking place in your life every day, the war between discipline and regret. Both demand something from you. But only one leads to freedom, the other leads to burden. Discipline is doing what you know you must do, even when you don't feel like doing it. Regret is what creeps in when you look back and wish you had. One weighs ounces. It may feel heavy in the moment, but it's light compared to the long-term price. The other weighs tons. It lingers, it multiplies, and it haunts. That's why your 1 hour a day is more than just a productivity habit. It's an insurance policy against regret. It's the daily investment that keeps the weight of "I should have" off your shoulders. Because one day you'll either say, "I'm glad I did," or "I wish I had." And that decision is being made right now, every day, in the way you spend that one sacred hour. Discipline doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence. It asks you to show up, not because it's easy, not because it's fun, but because it's right. That 1 hour doesn't need to be glamorous. It needs to be consistent. It's the hour when you ignore the noise and focus on your growth. It's the moment when you say, I care more about who I'm becoming than how I feel right now. Because feelings are fleeting, but identity is lasting. Regret, on the other hand, doesn't show up right away. It waits, it builds, it collects all the missed chances, all the excuses, all the avoided hours, and it presents the bill years later, and when it comes, it's heavy. Far heavier than any hour of discipline could have ever been. Think of the things you've regretted most in life. Rarely are they things you did. They're things you didn't do, the opportunities you didn't take. The books you didn't write, the skills you didn't learn, the health you didn't protect, the relationships you didn't build, all because you were too busy, too distracted, too tired, or worse, too afraid. And all of that could have been different if you had protected 1 hour a day to move forward, to grow, to build, to become. That's the brutal truth. Regret is what's left when discipline was neglected. And by the time you feel its full weight, it's often too late to go back. But here's the good news, you still have time. If you're breathing, you still have that hour today, and that means you still have a choice. You can choose the lighter weight, the weight of discipline. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because every hour you invest in your future is an hour you subtract from future regret. When you look back 1 year from now, you won't remember every single thing you did, but you will remember that you showed up for yourself, that you didn't let excuses win, that you didn't drift, that you didn't give your best hours to meaningless distractions and shallow comforts. You'll look back and feel proud. That is the gift of discipline, and let's be clear, you're already paying a price, whether you realize it or not. There's a cost to every decision. The cost of not using that hour to grow is much higher than you think. It costs you momentum. It costs you self-respect. It costs you clarity, confidence, potential. It costs you a piece of the person you were meant to become, and the longer you delay, the more expensive that bill becomes. So ask yourself, am I paying in discipline now or in regret later? Because one of those payments is coming. The smart ones choose to pay in advance. There's a reason high performers, creators, builders, and leaders all guard their time with obsession. They understand the value of the hour. They don't treat time like it's disposable. They treat it like it's sacred, because it is. That hour is where transformation lives, not because it's magical, but because it's intentional. While the world scrolls, binges, sleeps in, or gets caught in endless distraction loops, they choose to build, to write, to plan, to sweat, to study, to create. They carry the weight of discipline now, so they don't carry the weight of regret later. Discipline is a decision made in quiet moments. It's saying no to comfort so you can say yes to purpose. It's not glamorous, it doesn't get applause, but it builds something applause can't give you: character. It makes you strong on the inside, not just impressive on the outside. It teaches you to trust yourself, to lead yourself, to respect yourself, and that's what that hour is really about. It's not just time management. It's self-leadership. Every time you choose to honor that hour, you tell yourself, I am worth the effort. My future is worth the discomfort. And the more you choose discipline, the lighter it becomes. The first few days are hard. Your body resists. Your mind complains. But over time, the resistance weakens. The routine settles. The pride builds, and then something amazing happens. You start to crave the hour. You look forward to the challenge. You begin to feel the shift in your spirit. The work becomes your fuel, not your burden, and you realize this isn't punishment, this is freedom, because discipline doesn't restrict you. It releases you. It frees you from anxiety, from mediocrity, from chaos, from guilt. That 1 hour, given daily, is your ticket out of the prison of potential and into the freedom of progress. But the choice is always yours. Every day you wake up with two voices. One says, sleep in, skip it, you'll do it tomorrow. The other says, show up, push forward, build today. One leads to regret, the other leads to results, and you get to decide which one wins. That's what makes the hour powerful, not because it's long, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. It's the one part of the day you control fully, and how you use it says everything about what you value, what you believe, and where you're going. So let this be your reminder: you're not too late. You're not too far gone. You're not broken. You're just 1 hour away from a better direction. 1 hour away from a new pattern. 1 hour away from momentum. But you have to start now, not next week, not next year, now, because time will pass anyway, and the question is, when it does, will you be lighter with the strength of discipline or heavier under the weight of regret? The cost is coming either way. Choose the one that builds you. Choose the one that frees you. Choose the one that moves you forward. Invest your hour before the cost is too high.